This week on ANN, the Adventist Church in Europe releases Season 2 of the Uncertainty Project.
A new gardening program for AdventHealth is encouraging health and sustainability.
And in Brazil, Adventist members use creative ways to pass out more than 20 million copies of Hope for Troubled Times.
These stories and more coming up.
Thank you so much for joining us this week.
First in the news, on November 12th, the Uncertainty Project Season 2 will premiere on the Uncertainty Project's website.
Uncertainty is a leading multimedia project of the Adventist World Church born in Europe, expressed in video productions, film, and other digital and print media. The project has gained a lot of success both inside and outside the church.
The Uncertainty Project is the result of collaboration between different countries, media entities, and worldwide administrative offices of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
The project started in February 2019 and was inaugurated in May 2020 during a Gain Europe online event. The work followed a community-centered model and started with one idea, under joint coordination from Hope Media Europe, headed by Adrienne Duray.
The Uncertainty Project was implemented through different strategies and languages, according to the regions and countries involved. All the videos were produced in different regions by media structures of the Adventist Church.
The first season generated approximately 42 audiovisual resources, including a feature film, documentary series, more than 20 inspirational clips for social media, and much more.
Since the COVID-19 pandemic has continued, the Gain Europe team and coordination team decided to continue producing new materials and resources until the beginning of 2021.
Season 2 of this project includes 4 new episodes of the documentary series, a book, the Psalm 23 clip for social media, and the U3 documentary film, which is produced by the North America division.
You can watch Seasons 1 and 2 of the Uncertainty Project, as well as social media clips and a documentary at uncertaintyproject.org.
Неуверенность есть. Прибьют и убьют.
I really don't know what's going to happen in the future. I have no idea. I don't know.
ตามปกติแล้วชีวิตคนเราก็ไม่แน่นอนนะคะแต่คนไร้รัฐเนี่ยจะมีความไม่แน่นอนมากกว่าเพราะว่าเป็นคนไร้ตัวตนนะคะ
A primeira incerteza que a gente teve na nossa vida foi, ok, como é que a gente vai fazer essa fertilização in vitro, sendo que uma fertilização in vitro, 60% dos casos é que não dá certo. Então assim, já tem uma incerteza de, cara, a gente vai investir um dinheiro muito grande nisso, para não dar certo.
Então a gente fez a primeira tentativa, não deu certo. Aí a gente fez a segunda tentativa, não deu certo também. E aí a gente falou, e agora, o que a gente faz?
我是个乳癌3期的病人，然后我也是在去年的时候才发现的，然后等发现的时候就已经是3期了，那这对我来说是一个很大的打击。
Men min framtid, ja, hva jeg gjør om noen få år, det aner jeg ikke.
AdventHealth Celebration in Central Florida is prioritizing nutrition and sustainability through a new gardening program.
Team members will be growing vegetables on hospital property inside a shipping container, which has the ability to regulate the temperature of the crops inside.
Check out this innovative idea from AdventHealth.
What is new on our property is our new freight farm.
A freight farm is essentially a 40-foot shipping container that has been converted. We are not using soil, so there are some different characteristics to growing, and it allows us to do it in a vertical environment.
This has been a long time vision that I've had to grow vegetables and healthy things for our staff.
Patty Jo came to me many years ago wanting to do something innovative and different here. And it started with an idea of wanting to build a greenhouse.
But as soon as we found the area for the greenhouse, we decided we needed a new tower. So that kind of took that space.
And the crops will grow in those, and the water will be dripping from the top. We are training the Advent team how to utilize the equipment within the farm.
It's really a neat idea that you can start off with seeding, and from placing a seed until it becomes a plant's about 3 weeks.
And from the vertical walls, it will take about 4 to 5 weeks for them to be mature plants in which we can harvest.
This is an opportunity for us to grow something here local, which is healthy, and we'll be able to share it with our employees and eventually in the future with our patients as well.
Coming up on ANN In-Depth this week, we talked to health ministries about the long-term impact of COVID.
But up next, in Brazil, Adventists passed out more than 23 million copies of Hope for Troubled Times.
Any idea what time it is?
We really, really need our sleep. Are you from? No, we're not from the future, but we know you only pay attention to yourselves, so here we are.
But how? We have no time for that. We have less than 30 seconds.
Fact number 1. Adults need 7 hours of sound, restful sleep to keep their immune systems healthy and to fight viruses. And today, right now, is the single most important thing you can do to keep yourself healthy. What are you doing?
We're just Googling if spicy foods cause hallucinations.
Fact 2. Staring at your phone or your computer right before bed prevents sound sleep. And you'll be tired the next day. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Can we just go to bed, please?
Welcome back.
The Hope Impact Project in South America emerged in 2007 with one main objective: to share the biblical message through free book distribution.
Over the years, the project has become the means for many people to change their lifestyle and worldview because of the content they read.
This year, Adventists throughout 8 countries of the South American Division distributed more than 20 million copies of the 2021 Missionary Book of the Year, Hope for Troubled Times by Adventist evangelist Mark Finley.
Along with passing out books, young people distributed food to people in need, prayed with homeless, and met with government officials.
The Adventist Church in South America sent this video.
If you would like more information about the Missionary Book of the Year by Mark Finley, visit publishing.adventist.org.
Over the past 18 months, we have spoken with Dr. Peter Landless, Director of Health Ministries for the Adventist World Church, and Dr. Torben Berglund, Associate Director of Health Ministries for the Adventist World Church, about the impact of COVID-19 on our program, ANN In Depth.
This week, the conversation continued as we talked to Dr. Landless and Dr. Berglund about the long-term impact of COVID-19, not only physically, but mentally and spiritually.
How are we treating each other? Why does the world seem so divided? Even in the Adventist church family, we have an us versus them mentality. How can we come together and treat each other like Jesus has asked us to, even though we disagree?
Here's a short clip from this week's episode of ANN In Depth. To watch the full episode, head over to youtube.com and search for the Adventist Church.
Jesus said, "By this shall all men know that you are my" what?
Disciples, if you love one another.
And we are disciples. That's who we are. That defines the we. So already there's, and you're absolutely right, I was just teasing you a little bit, but that defines what moderates, modulates, and impacts our interaction with each other so much. And that, I tell you what I lose sleep about. I don't lose sleep about someone who has a vaccination or someone who chooses not to have a vaccination. It worries me that God's people are divided. And as Jennifer brought out right in the beginning of this, and you've so very expertly, you and Torben have worked around and on it, and that is the way that we stigmatize, vilify, accuse, judge. We get letters saying, "Sir, money talks. You write these things because you must be getting a lot of money from the vaccine companies." And then the letter ends, "Money talks." And you know, that sounds funny, but it's not. Why? Because people don't think of what those words imply. That we would, that I would, that someone would, in that collective we, defined by those who are his disciples, would act like that. And so it continues to drive the wedge, which is so sad and so destructive. And who's having the greatest fun out of this whole thing? The devil. Divide and conquer.
Coming up, Elizabeth Henry is here for This Week in Adventist History.
But up next, we hear what global mission pioneers are doing in the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
We may look, pray, read, think, worship, sing, and share differently, but we all look forward to the Sabbath. And we all look forward to the future when Jesus will come again. With this message in mind, we arrived at a core component for a new identity system, the creation grid, a simple 7-column structure for layout. The grid is a reference both to the prophetic timeline as well as to the creation week that culminated in the 7th-day Sabbath. Regardless of what or where you are designing, you can always find information to help you communicate that we are all Seventh-day Adventists.
Welcome back.
There are 17 million people in Kinshasa, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and it's growing quickly. Global mission pioneers are there too, planting churches, and engaging their community.
This week, Gary Krause and Rick Kajiura recall their trip to the country and their amazement at what the Global Mission pioneers are doing in the country.
Adventist Mission has more.
Rick, we're thinking about that visit many years ago to Kinshasa in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, West Africa. That was quite a trip.
It was my first time to visit that country, and so it was eye-opening.
Well, Kinshasa, you're looking at 17 million people and growing rapidly, and it seemed like every one of them was out on the street when we drove in from the airport, just an active, vibrant, happening city. And there we have Global Mission pioneers through the years who have been planting churches.
Yes, I remember going into the city and seeing lorries or trucks filled with people in the back. That was their transportation into the city. And so it was a huge challenge. You got a small number of Global Mission pioneers trying to reach a large number of people.
Yeah, so we were there for the Global Mission pioneer training, and I'll never forget the person who really stands out to me, of course, was Pastor Jeremiah, former Global Mission pioneer, who was leading the singing for the event. He was so vibrant, so enthusiastic, had such a wonderful story. You suggested we take him out on the street so that we could film him in action.
Yeah, so we went out right in front of the church and set up right there, and he started playing music, and immediately he had a crowd. And of course, his personality is so infectious. He's just so, vibrant and just has this life about him that people are just drawn to it, I think, even without the music.
And he had his two little kids with him, Benji and Josie. And Josie had been really sick. She'd had malaria. She also had ulcers up on her leg. And so she doesn't look overly happy in the video, but she sang. And they had walked 2 hours to come to the event. And that evening, Saturday evening, they were heading back another 2 hours, walking back home.
Yeah, no, I'd forgotten that they'd walked 2 hours, but I think that's often the case in many of those areas of the world. What I do remember, though, is all the children that gathered around when he started singing and playing. We had a crowd.
Yeah, well, I remember several years later walking down the corridor at the General Conference, and I heard the same song that we had recorded Pastor Jeremiah playing and singing. And I poked my head into Ricky Oliveras' office. He's our video producer, and he was editing. And sure enough, there was Pastor Jeremiah. Ricky knew him as Pastor Lobo. I don't know, maybe it's Pastor Jeremiah Lobo, but there he was with his family. We knew him with 2 kids and a 1-month-old baby at home. But now the family had grown, church growth, and he was still ministering like he has through the years. It was just wonderful to see it.
We come today, we pray, we praise our Lord Jesus Christ, King of Kings.
And what's great about that one is these little homemade trumpets.
That's right. Beautiful. Well, Global Mission pioneers such as Pastor Jeremiah are working all around the world. Thanks for your prayers, for your financial support. They're planting churches in places we didn't know we could plant churches, in very difficult circumstances. And whenever I meet a Global Mission pioneer living on a basic living stipend, I'm just humble, because I say, Lord, I don't know what sacrifice is. So please continue to pray for Global Mission pioneers pioneering the gospel around the world.
Like Jesus, I have to continue, because we have the mission to go to spread abroad of good news of Jesus Christ.
Watch this and other mission stories online by visiting AdventistMission.org, then click on videos at the top.
And finally, for today's episode, let's turn to Elizabeth Henry for a look at Adventist history.
This week, we hear about the life and ministry of Juan Gaston Krause.
Welcome to This Week in Adventist History. Juan Gaston Krause
a pastor, journalist, writer, director, publisher, teacher, lecturer, and administrator, was born in September of 1917. While working in a pharmacy in the late 1930s, Krause, then an atheist, met Samuel Fayard, an Adventist pastor who gave him a copy of The Great Controversy, which Krause finished in 3 days and received Bible studies. On November 9th, 1940, Krause was baptized. He then went to study at the Chile Adventist University, and he graduated in teaching on November 11, 1942. Krause began his ministry in the Chile Conference as a canvasser in 1939 and as a denominational worker in February 1943. Between 1943 and 1948, Krause worked as a teacher, dean, professor, pastor, and Bible worker. From 1948 to 1956, he was the editor of the South American Spanish Publishing House. He was ordained as a pastor on November 11, 1955. From 1956 to 1984, Krause held diverse roles at various levels of the South American Division. He was a radio director, Youth Volunteer Missionary Department leader, chair of applied theology at the River Plate Adventist University, president of the Uruguayan Mission and of the Chile Union Mission, lay activities leader at the South American Division, chief editor of the South American Spanish Publishing House, and counselor secretary for the president, and director of Missionary Action and Sabbath School of the Chile Union Mission. Krause retired with 41 years of service in 1984, but continued to translate books and articles until his death in 2006. He was also a speaker of a local cable TV channel program dedicated to the study of Sabbath school lessons. To learn more about Juan Gaston Krause or many others, please visit the Encyclopedia of Seventh-day Adventists at encyclopedia.adventist.org. This has been a look at this week in Adventist history.
Thanks for watching ANN. Join us next week for more news from the headquarters of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Did you know the Adventist Church has a YouTube channel where you can watch ANN Video, ANN In-Depth, and plenty of other amazing videos on prophecy, health, and Bible study?
Just go to YouTube and search for the Adventist Church. Click the subscribe button to make sure you're caught up each week.
And remember, leave a comment or a prayer request. We have people who are praying for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Before we say goodbye, here's some good news from the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 5, verses 17 and 18.
The passage says, "Therefore, if any man is in Christ, he is a new creature. Old things have passed away. Look, all things have become new. All this is from God, who has reconciled us to himself through Jesus Christ and has given to us the ministry of reconciliation."
That's our program for this week. And remember, you can always visit Adventist.news for daily news and videos. Until next time, God bless.
Take care.